In this video, I'm going to talk about how to deal with your wife's crazy emotional states. In fact, most guys' lives get completely identified by how his wife's feeling. So when she gets upset, he has to dance. He has to try to figure out how to make it better. He has to try to figure out what's wrong with her, try to solve the problem. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to not only not have to do that, but to create this place where she stabilizes and stays stabilized. My name is Ed Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. The process of being with a woman for 50 years or a woman that you're dating is pretty much the same. For us, it's just science. Because we know the patterns, we know the solutions. It's not that complicated. You have to make a commitment for yourself. That's what it means to be in Soul Seducer program. That's what it means to work with me directly. So you can learn to handle your emotions. So you can learn to see right into a woman's soul and seduce her from within, to create this garden that she can actually thrive in. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. So I'm just going to say this right in the beginning of the video. You're not here to fix her. You're not here to be her emotional punching bag. Your job is to lead her through this storm into a better place. Her emotional state is not your fault. I don't care if she says it's your fault. I don't care if she blames you for everything. It is not your fault. It is something she is choosing consciously or unconsciously to do, but it's not your fault. She might say shit like, "You're pissing me off, you're making me mad." Cool, that's a false statement. She's choosing to do that. She's a grown-ass woman, and this is exactly how she's choosing to be. Now, what you do with it is what really matters. On one hand, you can say, "Fuck her, get the hell out of my life, go home and handle your own problems." You can do that. And for some situations, that might be required. If she's being toxic, if she's being demeaning towards you, manipulating you, shaming you, guilting you, yeah. None of that is allowed in a relationship. And a lot of people cannot operate outside of that realm. And so in that case, yeah, this person cannot be in your presence. You have to hold a hard line for this. You cannot tolerate even an ounce of this bullshit. Not even one time. One time gets a conscious spanking. Hey, I will not be guilted, shamed, or manipulated. You're just going to have to go. I'm not going to have a conversation with you if you're going to act like this. Now, with that being said, that's probably going to get rid of a lot of the women in your life. It's probably going to get rid of a lot of the women you would date, and you're just going to have to accept that. You're just going to have to accept the fact that you would rather be single than to deal with that kind of manipulative bullshit. You have to come to that place, or you will never have the kind of relationship that you truly desire. And you're like, "Ed, I can't get a woman on a date, and you want me to hold this kind of line?" Well, that might be why you can't get a woman on a date, because you are not willing to hold the line. Now, on the other side of that, you need to see that there is beauty within her. You need to see that she's just scrambling like a crab in a bucket trying to bring everybody down with her. And so you can't be that guy. You can't be the guy who gets pulled down and sucked into that shit. You have to be the guy who holds the line, holds the standard for what is acceptable. And it's odd, and I can't explain exactly why this is, but when you start to make this decision and you hold this line, all of a sudden all these toxic women decide to disappear from your life, and then the nice ones show up. And it's ironic because if you can't hold this line, the nice ones aren't that interested in you. And yeah, I guess they want the most powerful guys they can get because, well, they have something to offer. So let's get into the first point on this one. When you're trying to fix her problems, you're coming from a place of fear, not power. When you have to fix her problems, what you're saying and you're telegraphing to her is her emotional state's too much for you. Let's just get this shit over with, shut the fuck up, do the thing, and let's move on. She's like, he just wants to shut me down. He doesn't want to hear what's going on with me. He doesn't actually want to hear how I operate and how I function as a woman. She wants you to know how she thinks. She wants to outline this for you so that you can anticipate and know her deeply. And as a man who's interested in his woman, there should be a sense of, I want to know everything about you. And if you want to know everything about her, you're going to have to actually learn everything about her, which means you're going to have to be able to objectively see what's going on within her without capsizing under her storm. With that being said, if her storm's too much for you, it might not be the right woman for you. But at the same time, you can train your nervous system to be calmer or more grounded. It doesn't matter how spicy she gets. It's not going to throw you off base. Now, when she has this storm and she's freaking the fuck out and she sees that you're unaffected by it, she can feel safe within that space. She can feel safe that she can say, I can express how I really am. Even if I lose my shit and call him a name, he knows I don't mean it, and I can come back and apologize, and then here we are. At the same time, when you're in this space, you have to hold a boundary as well, and I've already talked about that, where if this continues to happen over and over again, then there's going to have to be another boundary on how we can prevent this from happening over and over again. And so she doesn't necessarily need you to be her therapist. She doesn't need you to fix all of her problems. She just needs to feel that you have a backbone. She just needs to feel that you are strong as hell in her presence, that you're not going to be capsized by it, that you're not going to get pushed around, that you're not going to get all wrapped up in all of her emotional state. In fact, the more grounded and centered you are, the more you just kind of look at her as having a cute experience, and you love her through it, the more she'll start to calm down and the more she'll thank you for it as well. The second one is you set the tone. So you set the frame in a relationship and you set the tone. This is how we operate here. We don't come from this place of anger, frustration, madness, blaming, shaming, guilting. Nope, that doesn't fly here. That's not how I operate. If you want to be this way, that's cool. You can be that way all you want. I'm not going to stop you. You just won't do it around me. And so you have to set the frame and set the tone. And so this is very apparent, like for husbands who come home and he's overwhelmed and stressed all the time, and then his wife's dancing around his emotions. He's like, oh, he's overwhelmed and stressed. I better clean up. I better do all this stuff to help him out. The thing is, he's starting to set the tone of stress in the relationship. And if she's getting all upset and freaking out, and then you start reacting to all that, now she's setting the tone of chaos, and you're buying into it and accelerating it and exasperating it. You have to set the tone of calm, certainty, and groundedness in the relationship, of fun, laughter, and an invitation to constantly play. You have to set this tone. And so when you have this tone, and she starts getting all upset, then you can send a little quick joke to her that kind of turns around. You've held the tone. She can get upset. You just say a quick comment, and it makes her laugh, and then she turns it around. Or she gets upset. You still hold the tone of, hey, we're still grounded. We're still centered. Everything's good. What's going on with you? Tell me what's happening. I want to know everything about you. I love the hell out of you. What's happened? Lay it on me. When you hold this standard, you hold this tone in the relationship, she will naturally fall into it. This is why your wife will talk to some other dude and she'll light the fuck up and start joking and getting all playful with him, and you get jealous to her and you're like, why did that happen? It's like, yeah, because that dude's setting a better tone than you are. This doesn't mean that you have to be a dancing monkey. This doesn't mean that you have to always be on. It just means that you have to always be grounded. You're not always going to be grounded, but you do your best to keep it most of the time. And with the training of your nervous system, you can calm the fuck down all the time. And you should always have an air of being calm, relaxed, and grounded, so that when she gets upset, it's not a big deal. You set the tone. You set the leadership in this, not her and her chaos. When she starts to set the tone of the chaos in the relationship, this means that there's some buttoning up that you need to do within yourself or within the relationship. And if it's a woman you're dating, you might have to find somebody else that suits you better. So you don't have to make a relationship work. And I encourage you not to make all relationships work. I encourage you to make only highly compatible relationships work. And this is a key distinction. Most guys don't do this. They don't hold out for the right woman. They just pick the next one because, you know what, she's hot enough, she's good enough, and I can make this work, which are all horrible statements for starting a relationship. A lot of women, a lot of men cannot emotionally regulate themselves. They just can't. And so how they regulate their emotional states, they regulate it off of you. And so by you staying grounded, it'll calm them down. By you coming to the table with what you want in the relationship, now she will now fall into this place as well. So if she's angry, if she's upset, she's going to test the perimeter. If she's a spicy kind of woman, she's going to test about what she can get away with. She's always going to be bouncing around to see where the boundaries are. Children do the same thing. And you're like, well, are women just all children? All humans are pretty much just grown kids. Most people do not have the emotional maturity to just ground themselves and calm themselves down. These are all things that she should learn to do for herself. But until this happens, you're going to want to be this guy. And even then, when she learns to do this, there's going to be times where she can't hold it together. And then you, being the grounding force, will bring her back to her center, or bring her back to her heart, bring her back to what she knows is true for herself and for you and the kids. And when you hold this line, when you can stay settled, she will start to settle with you. You being able to breathe, stay calm, stay grounded, stay centered, she will then start to regulate with you because you are the stronger one. You are leading her back into the state of groundedness. And the longer you do this, the more iterations that you do this, and over a period of time, she will start to calm down. And so when I see a wife who's all frazzled and frustrated and upset and not into her husband and always jumping all around and she's completely in her head and just hitting the endless to-do list, I see a guy who's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Not that it's his job to regulate her all the time, but when you choose to be in a relationship with a woman, you're choosing this path. You're choosing to do this. And if you abdicate that, if you choose to not do it or you become absent in this, you're going to find that she's going to spin the fuck out. And she's going to get worse over time. And she's going to harden. And she's not going to become more playful. But when you do this properly, over time, your wife, over the years, she'll become more grounded, more centered, more open, more playful, more fun, more joking, more appreciative, more sexual, more devoted to you. and she'll do anything required to keep this relationship going. Why? Because this is what she truly wants, is great love. And great love can only happen in this space of you holding this strong groundedness. If you want to learn how to do this, you can make this pivot in just a few days. Check out Soul Seducer in the link in the description below. I'm going to always talk about Soul Seducer because that program is fucking amazing, that helped thousands of men save their marriages and turn their relationships around, and also change the way that they operate around women so that women just absolutely adore him and they cannot wait to hang out with him. Why? Because he sets the standard. I'm going to keep talking about this because this is my mission, is to help guys like you. And so, brother, if you want to know more about that, check the link in the description below. And I'm going to keep doing these videos, so hopefully you'll get more out of that. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.